What's up and welcome back. I'm Josh Stark, MikeMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm going to talk about Never Let Go. This is a 2024 horror film starring Halle Berry and is directed by Alejandro Aya. That's at least how the narrator pronounces his name. I always thought it was Aha, but uh, Aya? We'll go with that. Um, and I did like his previous work. He did the remake of The Hills Have Eyes, and that was sort of how he landed on my radar a long time ago. He's been bouncing around horror movies for a while now, and he's got quite a few on his resume. But this movie kind of landed with a thud. This movie was just kind of like, I think released in like late August, early September, something like that. And man, no one cared. This was like around the same time as like Afraid. No one cared. It's just like, well, I don't know what this movie is. Which is a shame because I kind of thought Halle Berry did a good job here. Like, the thing is, the movie's not good. Like, the movie inherently is just not a good movie from the very beginning. Like, conceptually, it's not really good. It feels like if somebody took Nicolas Cage's Arcadian and then mixed it with I don't know. It's got some. It even has some vibes that was giving me only because I saw it earlier this year in the Mouth of Madness, where you just have these like random like horrific images that's like have like that are just sort of like shocking. Like it tries to do a lot with jump scares that just don't really work. Maybe they work on sighted people. I don't know, because sometimes if you see like the really scary looking thing, but on blind people, they don't work. Especially no, they just don't. So I mean, she was constantly looking and seeing somebody who was fucked up, and just it's like I don't know. I mean, Halle Berry's seeing things. This movie kind of went where I thought it was going to go from the beginning. I was kind of disappointed in that because um, when you're given sort of a very narrow perspective on life and there isn't a whole lot of backstory given to it of like how we got here, then it leaves potential open for at least one of these people to be like the village. You know what I'm saying? Like ever since Shyamalan was like, well, what if I show you the world, but the world is not as you know it. I feel like everything's gonna be the village now. So, and we've done this again and again. There was Antebellum did the same thing, rips the rug out from underneath you. It's like, gotcha. you know. Um, so I kind of felt like that was gonna happen with this to some extent all the time. And probably the biggest reason was so the world is presented as like there's evil. It shows you Hallie, and she's got two kids, two sons, and a dog, and that's it. And they live in this house in the middle of fucking nowhere, like literally nowhere, like in a swamp somewhere. I don't even know where it is. It's like in the middle of nowhere, and at the beginning of the movie, and you're like, okay, I know nothing. And she's out there, and the little kid's like narrating. It seems like a ghost story, and it's like, you don't let the evil touch you. Once the evil touches you, one of those movies. And they have these like weird things or like a quiet place where they have to go out and do things, and they go out and like forage for food. So they attach a rope that ties them to the house. And there's a scene where like something goes horribly awry, and like one of the kids loses his rope, and he's supposed to never let go of the rope because it tethers him to the house. And you're like, oh no, is evil gonna get in? So my bigger questions was, hey, where did they get the dog? Uh Dogs don't even have long lifespans. So seriously, where did they get the dog? And B, she had a husband, but it talks about the fact that she kind of grew up as a kid with like when she was a kid, it was like this. So where did she get a husband from? From where? Like that was always the question I was asking myself was, how did she produce children? And I always knew there was going to be some sort of twist that was going to be like, well, haha, didn't we get you? And I was like, no, because the whole time I was like, where the fuck is her husband? How did she make babies in this apocalyptic nightmare where you're trying to say that she had grew up with these sets of rules herself. And I'm like, no. So no, this movie didn't really work for me. But it's sad because I actually think Halle's good in it. And this is again another performance from Halle where I've liked her in the movie, but I haven't liked the movie. Like I thought she was really good in Bruised, which was a Netflix original movie. I didn't like the movie. I just thought she was good in it. So Halle keeps showing up to movies that are not good movies. I'd love for her to show up to movies that are good movies so that people can be like, oh, yeah, Halle Berry, she should be. Because it's really hard to appreciate somebody's performance when you're like, man, this movie is just what the. And yeah, so this movie just didn't work for me. It does have audio description though. So yeah, you get all the weird, little fucked up looking people, the people who are decaying, or one of them's described like a zombie. There's some weird lady too. There's, oh God, they're just all attempts at jump scares. Everything's an attempt at a jump scare. Um, it's a fucking smile. Anyway, yeah, this is, I did not, it's not the worst movie I've seen this year. It's always funny when you watch and I'm always like, people are watching me see this movie and they're like, oh God, he's gonna give it like an F. And I'm like, you know what's funny is it's still not the worst movie I've seen this year. This is still better than like at least 50 to 75 films that I've seen this year. Seen 400 films this year. And this is probably still in the bottom 100, but it's definitely, there are definitely still like 50 films below this. So I'm gonna give this a C minus. I think it's time to let go of Never Let Go. That's fine. We can do that. But and this is like there's another film too that's like this too. I just can't remember. I've seen too many movies this year where it was like a family in a cabin and there was like a situation and it wasn't Arcadian because I remember when I reviewed that movie, it was after I'd seen Arcadian, and I reviewed a movie in between this and Arcadian where I was like, oh, this reminds me of Arcadian. So where it's like a parent and some kids and uh trouble ensues, you know? And anyway, what was it? Is it Hold Your Breath? Was that it? Maybe it was Hold Your Breath that reminded me of that because it was Sarah Paulson and she had like two daughters and there was some situation in the Dust Bowl and we didn't know what it was. And I was like, is this Arcadian again? I'm just gonna keep watching the same concept over and over. Yup, we are. One parent, two kids. That's gonna be the movie. Um, so yeah, don't bother. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.